Hey, this is Jessie Ann Nichols George, and I'm coming to you today with a little bit of insight that's inspired by my new kitty, which some of you have already seen and heard about on regards to that, but she's bringing some great inspiration. And this is what happens when new things come into our life. We have to be ready to take them on. We have to be ready to open up and be inspired by what they have to offer us. And so this week's topic is called From Waterfalls to Wonderful. And this is, she's going to jump in here. Actually, this is Orly. And she already got her own little video just a couple of days ago in here. But she's inspiring me with her story and her life. And when we talk about waterfalls, it's very interesting because waterfalls normally are associated with renewal. They're associated with new life, rest, restoration, reinventing ourselves, and they're oftentimes inspired by transformation and hope and optimism and faith and belief and all these wonderful things. So we oftentimes think, well, why on earth would we transition from a waterfall to something else? Well, when I found Orly, she was in a very, very tough position, only about 3 pounds. And I'm getting my feet nibbled on. But anyways, when I found her, she was in this very devastated state. And this is where so many people are feeling like right now. Right now, there's been so many people that are worn down from what they've been through over the last couple of years, and so many people that are on that edge of giving up. So this topic is kind of bringing up an old theme in a sense, with a little new fresh life into it. And that is the fact that oftentimes we do hit these spaces. And when I found Orly, she was about ready to go right over a waterfall. She was out drinking some water, and how many times do we do that? We're on our so-called last legs, literally, with her. And we're worn out, and we're tired, and we're exhausted, and we've worn our physical body down in the process of trying to survive. And that's where a lot of people are at today. They're trying to survive in this world as opposed to feeling like they have balance and feeling like they have that harmony and that thriving that's going on. So this is very important because our inner manifester then gets worn down. Our inner manifester gets beat down to where we're not getting that balance that we need. And for her, not that she was actually going to totally go over, but she was right at the edge. And she could have easily gone over, because when we're in those worn down states, what happens is we don't even see when we're on the edge of that waterfall ready to go over. Some of us are like, hey, I'm just going to jump now because I'm so done with this number. And I've heard that from people. I'm so exhausted, Justy. I don't know if I can keep hanging on here. And so, for Orly, here she was out here in this area that I'd never seen a cat before. And it was out on a creek bed area. And, so many of us, how many of us can relate to that? The physical body is trashed, the physical body is worn down, and that's affecting our mind. It's affecting our ability to think clearly. It's affecting our ability to really know our surroundings and what's happening to us. And we need to realize that, it's not all there. If we can just hold it together, if we can just hold that faith and that optimism. And part of why I called her Orly is because it means bringer of light. It means light of the divine. And this really inspired me with her, because here she was in this devastating place, basically helpless. I have no idea how she survived as long as she did. But then when I called to her and I said, hey, what are you doing? And we all kind of need that wake-up call sometimes, right? Say, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? We need that person in our life that will do that. And she turned around and she came over and she started loving me. And I thought, this is a really, really powerful insight, and this is a really powerful lesson, that here is this animal that is totally helpless. Here is this animal that is on the edge of death, literally, from trying to survive. And of course, we all know the parallels show up in our face. And I'm like, okay, Jesse, take heed to this. How balanced is your life right now? And I'm going through, like a lot of people, I'm going through a lot of big shifts and changes right now. And so I had to look at it and say, Jesse, how close are you to that position? You don't want to think about that. You're sharing a lot of things, but I can also admit that I have a lot of things that are not quite in balance because of the changes. And when we go through big changes in our life, things do get out of balance for us. Now, when we look at this, she could have been angry, she could have ran, she could have gone over the waterfall. There's a lot of different scenarios. But what did she do? She walked back to me and she loved me. And this is a parallel, that she walked back and it was like myself loving myself in a way. Not from an egotistical space, but from a space of reflection, seeing my own mirror come back to me and saying, I still love you. I'm worn out, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but I still love you. And I think we have great lessons to learn from that. And I scooped her up. I drove her 50 miles to an emergency clinic, and because that was the only thing that was open where I live. And here we are quite a bit later, quite a bit of money later, but I love it. It's worth every bit that I've done to help her out, because 1 month later, here she is defying every aspect that the doctors thought. Doctors and vets looked at her and said, this cat, not a lot of hope here, you know. But I knew she wanted to live, and that's the spirit that we need to have. Even when things are devastating, we want to keep that spirit to live. We want to keep that spirit going, to keep growing, and to have that will to keep living. So even on the edge of death, she had the will to keep living. Not because she didn't know that leaving might be, you know, less painful for her, but when we know we've got that mission and that purpose in our life, and a lot of us are trying to put that out there, sometimes we feel like we're on the edge of death, and sometimes we are exhausted and worn out and we don't know where else to go. We need to keep that desire to live, to keep everything alive. And this is an important thing. And now she's having a wonderful life. She has defied medical miracles, so to say, from white blood cell counts being at almost 39 to now dropping to 32 and continuing to drop, and doing the healing. And that's a great reminder. We need to take the time to heal, and sometimes listen to that person that says, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? What's up? Because we need to listen to those wake-up calls and go, oh yeah, I need to live here. And when she came back to me, she purred, by the way. She purred and she gave me a ton of love. And it just shows that no matter what your circumstances are, no matter how challenging the times are, it's up to you what you want to exude. It's up to you what you want to be a bringer of light, and whether you want to exude love, no matter how challenging your circumstances are. If Orly can do it, I can do it, you can do it. And she has less to work with than we do, because she's reliant on somebody else. I really want to thank you for this time. And remember, when you're on the edge of going over the waterfall, turn around, walk back, and face those fears, and you're going to find something wonderful waiting for you. She has. I know I am right now, and I know you will too. So take the time to do it. From waterfalls to wonderful. Hey, if you'd like to follow more of my work, you can certainly do that. Again, my name is Jessie Ann Nichols George, and my website is www.jessieannnicholsgeorge1.com, and that's in the description here on YouTube. And yep, Miss Orly has her own little Facebook page now because so many people have asked to follow her story and to start to pay attention. So I just opened that up. So she will be sharing her insights and her wisdoms and her journeys as she continues to live this life wonderfully. Hope you have a wonderful next month and next insight. I know we're in for a lot of changes. So be like Orly. Live. Take care. Till next month. Thanks so much.